Hello, welcome back again, and thank you for subscribing. And this is module number 6. In today's video, we're going to talk about credit cards. What type of credit cards are best for real estate usage? So, I'm going to cover anything related to 0% credit cards. Credit cards that are going to give you the best perks in terms of sign up bonuses, mileage, which ones are actually my favorite, and I'm actually going to do a demo as well on how to apply for one and what type of credit cards and the perks and the benefits that you get from out of there. And I will also provide you with the links in the description box down below just to make it more efficient for you. And that way you can just go ahead, click on the link, and get started right away. So there are two types of credit cards, right? We have the 0%, and we're going to have the ones with sign-up bonuses. So what's the beauty? What's the benefit of having a 0% credit card? Well, you can accumulate debt and you pay a flat fee. So if your credit limit is $5,000 in a credit card, you can use up to all $5,000 without having to worry about any interest added to it over a certain period of time. And that way you can actually pay it down even faster versus paying a car that every time you put in, let's say $100, all you're paying down is just maybe 50 because the remaining 50 of what you put in is going towards interest rates. And with 0% credit cards, there's a whole bunch of them out there. So some of them are 6 months, 0%. You will find some of them at 12 months, 0%, 18. And if you're lucky enough, you might even find one at 20-month 0% interest rates. Now, moving on to sign-up bonus credit cards. What's the beauty about those sign-up bonuses credit cards? So basically the way it works is that most credit cards with sign-up bonuses are going to say, well, if you spend $1,000 for the first 3 months, we're going to give you $300. If you spend $5,000 in 4 months, we're going to give you $700 worth of point, right? So you can actually leverage the credit card to pay your day-to-day expenses, let's say your rent through plastic. You can take out the money from Venmo and then have someone in your family, whoever you send the money through Venmo, send you the money back. Don't do it right away. That's a big no-no. Wait a couple of days and then have that person send it back to you. And you can actually take that money and pay down that credit card. Or you can actually use the card with the sign-up bonuses, spend the money that you need to qualify for that bonus point, and transfer that money into that 0% credit card so that way you can pay it down even faster and not have to worry about a 10, 15, 20% interest rate on the credit cards. Now we're actually going to move on to my computer and I'm going to show you how to get started with the credit card applications, which ones are my favorite cards, and without further ado, let's just dive in. Okay, everyone. So now we're in front of my computer screen, and I have on my right a list of credit cards that I find to be very useful, and they're in fact one of some of my favorites. And so to start out, we're gonna begin with the 0% credit cards. And the first one on the list, it's the American Express Blue Cash, and we're gonna hit the link right here. So with the American Express, when you use my referral link, you actually earn an additional $200 cash back. The beauty about this card is that it doesn't have any annual fees, and it's 0% for the first 15 months. And then throughout your usage, you actually get benefits like 3% cash back whenever you do your grocery shopping at US supermarkets, 2% in gas and select department stores, and 1% cash back in any other type of purchases. So basically, you make money as you spend money. So don't forget to use this to cover any expenses that you would typically do on a regular basis, like your rent, pay your rent through plastic, or just simply having the ability to take the money out through Venmo. That never use the advanced checks that they send you because the interest rates they're going to start kicking out right away, and you can see it can range between 15.24 to 26.24%. And then as you go along, you can see a bunch of the benefits that you get here. So you get instant reward. You can also go ahead and start referring the same credit cards to your friends and then spread the joy. And you can actually use this for travel benefits as well. So whatever points that you accumulate, you can either apply them towards cashback or you can also use them for travel benefits and so on. And some people have the preference to personally go to the bank and apply for a credit card. I mean, in my opinion, there's no need to do that when you can actually do that online through this link. Just hit on the apply now button and you will see what the application looks like. It's fairly simple. You get a decision as soon as 30 seconds. And all you got to do is just to fill it out with your information, your name, date of birth, yada yada, your social security, and then you're just gonna hit continue until you hit the end. And that's basically it. So as you can see here, you're gonna earn $200 in cash back as a sign-up bonus after you spend $1,000. Spending $1,000 in 3 months is actually fairly simple. You can use plastic and pay your rent. For some of us, it will take 1 month. To some of our rent is over 1,000. But if you have a rent that falls into the lower category, let's say 700 to 800 or 900, it will take you 2 months, and it will still be fairly under the 3-month time period. And then your $200 will be issued back to you as a statement credit. So that's it for one of the cards. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the Chase Freedom. And with Chase Freedom, same thing. Once you use the link that I've included in the description box down below, you're going to get the same benefits. You're going to get a $150 bonus after you spend $500 in purchases. That's fairly simple. $500 can easily be gone by your rent payment or even grocery shopping in one single month, and they're giving you a period of 3 months right here. 1.5 cash back on anything that you spend, anything that you do, and then as a new member you get an additional $150 bonus for signing up, and you have a 0% APR. I believe I read that somewhere yesterday. Yeah, here. So 0% interest APR for the first 15 months, and if you have a credit card with a high balance, like I talked to you in some of the one of the earlier modules, what you can do is just simply call Chase and transfer that balance from that high percentage credit card into the 0%, and you should be able to pay down your credit card debt even faster. Now remember, with Chase, you cannot transfer balances from one Chase credit card to another. It has to be from a different bank. So you can do that from a Bank of America into Chase. You can do that from a Discover card into Chase. You kind of get the picture, right? And here are some of the perks. Same thing, fairly easy. Is actually one of the best cards that are available out there. As you can see, almost $10,000 on reviews, and they're actually pretty good reviews. As you can see, maybe 1 or 2 unhappy people around here, but you kind of like get the gist of it. And same thing, you hit the apply now button, and all you're gonna see, it's kind of like the same application. Again, no need to go down to the bank, where you can actually do this in the comfort of your home. First name, last name, and type of residence, primary source of income, and so on. And okay, so that's it for Chase Freedom. Now we're gonna move on to Discover. And same thing, when you use my link, you actually get a $50 statement credit for signing up with my link. And it's fairly simple. You fill it up, right? First, last name, and you get to pick, how pretty the car is. So let's just do a test right here. So we're gonna do this, and then ciao. And we're going to use, I don't know, just pick a green one because I already have the right one just to make it pretty. And we're going to move on to the next page. And you see, same thing, fairly simple. Your street address, date of birth, social security, employment status. As you can see, they all look similar. The applications, some will give you the option to do the balance transfer right from the get-go. Some of them will not. Then you're going to have to call. I personally prefer to wait for my credit card to arrive and then give them a call to do the balance transfer. I try to do that in the application, and in fact, it actually uh, took longer to process. I think the processing time was about 3 weeks or so. But if you call the bank as soon as you get the credit card and request for a balance transfer from those high percentage interest rate cards, the banks took, I think, an average maybe 2 weeks as opposed to the 3 week that they will take when you do this from the application. So that's it for the 0% cards. They're great to work with, and it could serve for people who already have an established credit, people who are somewhat in between around the 620s, and so that should still work for you. But if you have something that's lower, or you're trying to rebuild your credit, or you're trying to build your credit from scratch, then the right cards for you, the cards that you should go for are not these ones. You should actually start with something like the prepaid cards that I mentioned in my prior modules. And so the first one, we're going to cover two, the Capital One and Citi Diamond prepaid card. So the first one, we're going to hit the Capital One link. And so you get the application right here. As you can see, it looks fairly simple, very similar to the prior ones. You have to give your name, citizenship, birthday, social security, residential address. But here's what you're going to see the major difference. So as you can see, credit level, you have to be in a rebuilding stage, either with no credit, or you have a pretty bad credit because you have a lot of debt, a lot of revolving debt. And you're going to see that the rates are actually fairly high, 26.99 variable APR, which means it can adjust depending on your performance, and also depending on the circumstances on the market. And so let's say if the Federal Reserve Bank of New York decides to increase the rates, it's not only going to impact this card, but it's going to impact all the credit cards. And while it's not ideal to pay this much credit, the good news is that you can only spend as much as you put in. So if you do a security deposit of $49, $99, or $200, this is basically the maximum amount of money that you can spend. So it's going to force you to be disciplined, and it's going to force you to make those payments on time, because it's fairly a small amount. And when you try to rebuild your credit, you have to work extra hard on being disciplined. Just spend what you have. Don't go over what you don't have. So if you are planning to spend $50 in grocery shopping, and you have exactly $50 in cash to spend, just simply use this card, pay $49 in worth of grocery, and then immediately pay down the credit card. So that way you can start establishing a good credit history, and show the banks that you're actually making payments on time. And so that's it for the MasterCard. This is actually fairly easy to get compared to the Citi Diamond card. If you have the luxury to apply for both and be approved for both, go ahead and do so, because the more credit cards you have, the faster you can rebuild your credit, because you can build your relationship not just with Capital One, but in this case you can rebuild it with Citi, or you can start building that relationship for those who don't have any credit history whatsoever. So same as Capital One, there's no annual fee for this. Citi, it's a very well-known brand, just as well as MasterCard with Capital One. And you come in here and you just hit on the Apply Now box, and same thing, fairly simple. You have to deposit $200. That's the minimum amount for you to start your credit line with at Citi. And basically, same thing: names, date of birth, address, citizenship status, yada yada. You kind of get the picture. So the annual percentage rate for Citi is actually slightly lower than with Capital One. Capital One was 26.99. Here you have it slightly lower. And for those who don't understand how credit card interest rates work, this is an annual percentage rate, which means that on average, on an annual basis, you're paying 24.74 an interest rate. It does not necessarily mean that every month you're paying 24% on interest. It's basically a breakdown of 24 divided by 12. So if we divide 24.74 divided by 12, 2.06%. So that means that if you, let's say you own $100 a month, right? You're gonna multiply $100 times 0.0206, which was the breakdown, so 2.06% per month. That means on a monthly basis you're gonna pay $2. So $100 you pay $2.06, which will make it equal to 102.06. But if you multiply that by 12, this is how much you're going to be paying on a monthly basis. So 24.72, which is fairly close to 24.74. And that's basically what it means. I know I'm talking a little fast here, but if you don't understand, feel free to shoot me an email or leave a comment down below. And I will be more than happy to create another video to elaborate more on the breakdown. But for the purpose of this session right here, I'm going to keep moving on. And so that's it for 0% rate. You can, if you want to move ahead and apply for personal loans, for those who are trying to rebuild their credit, you can actually go to upgrade.com, and then you can go ahead and see how you can actually qualify. My personal loan is actually with Upgrade. You can say, let's say you have a debt of like 15,000, so we're gonna do 15, and then for the purpose, pay off credit card, that consolidation business. I actually did it to pay off my credit cards, and you check your rate. And don't worry about writing these links down, so I'm gonna provide them to you down below. And as you can see, it is very similar to, sorry. So it is very similar to any credit card application that you would normally fill out. So it is a fixed rate, no prepayment fees. Some of them, some personal loans, they kind of like penalize you for paying off your debt early, sort of like a mortgage. So the reason why I decided to go with Upgrade was because of that. Like I can afford to pay more on a monthly basis. So if my minimum payment was like $200, I wanted to pay $400, $500 sometimes if I had the money. And if I were to pay down the loan a lot faster, mine was for 5 years. But if I paid it down, let's say in 3, I wouldn't have to worry about any prepayment fees. So you have your basic information, then your account, and then you go ahead and just do your rate. I'm not going to create that again because I already have one with them. Another one that I mentioned in prior videos is Upstart, I believe, Upstart.com. And then, so when you go to Upstart, same thing. So you can invest, you can borrow money. So you hit on borrow, you want a loan for credit cards or debt, student loans. You can do that for multiple purposes, although I don't necessarily recommend you paying off a student loan with an Upstart loan because the interests are fairly high. That should be a topic for another time. But if you want to pay off a student loan, I suggest you do that through 0% credit cards. Same trick, you take the money out, you use money to pay your rent, and then with the cash that you normally would pay your rent, you put it towards your student loan, or you can do that through Venmo, and then take the excess cash and then just pay down your student loan from there, and so on. But for the purpose of this training, we're going to focus on credit cards, and then we're going to get started, and voila, same thing. So same application process, and then once you hit agree, you're gonna get your rate instantly. And the most popular one is the Lending Club. This is the one that everybody seems to know about, the platform that everyone goes to. And I've never used Lending Club. I think by the time I applied, the rates that I was getting through Lending Clubs were actually higher than Upgrade, so I decided to go with Upgrade. And also I like the fact that there's no prepayment fees. I'm not sure if Lending Club has any prepayment penalties, but hey, you have various platforms to choose from. So you have Lending Club right here. How much money you need? 3,000 just to make up something. Same categories: home improvement, debt consolidations, yada yada, credit card refinancing for the purpose of this training, and then we're just going to move on to check your rate. How's applying? Just me, two of us. If you're applying with a spouse or a friend, somebody that you trust, same thing. And I believe in my prior module, I also talked about Lending Tree. So lendingtree.com. And again, don't worry, I'm going to give you the links down below. But it's the same thing. Home refinancing, purchase, personal loans, home equity, auto loans. You can do personal loans right here, and so on. If you go back, you also have the option to do business loans as well. That's going to be a discussion for another video, because in order for you to be to qualify for a business loan, you have to have one of these legal entities set up. So you have to have at least an LLC or a corporation or a sole proprietorship. So again, that's going to be a topic for another video. And if you're really interested in hearing that, please leave me a comment down below in the description box, so that way I know there's a lot of interest around the subject, and I'll be more than happy to create one for you. Now, so that's it for 0%. That's it for personal loans, prepaid cards. Now we're going to move on to my favorite card, and that is the Chase Sapphire. And the reason why this is one of my favorite cards, even though it's not a 0% card, is because of its sign-up bonus. So when you use the link and you apply, you actually get a sign-up bonus of up to 50,000 bonus point, and that is the equivalent of $625. So not bad for spending $4,000 out of your pocket for something that you would normally spend anyways, meaning your rent, your electric bill, your water bill, property taxes. Yes, you do pay a small fee, maybe a 3% or 5%, depending on the type of services that you're utilizing. But let's say totaling all fees for the $4,000, I don't anticipate that could go higher than $100 per service. When you deduct $100 out of $625, you're still getting $525 back to you that you can either use for travel mileage. You can use them to pay down your car as a cashback deal, and so much more that you can do. I know they have a lot of perks. I'm not entirely familiar with all of them because I basically use Chase Sapphire to travel. That's how I managed to go to all of those real estate events that are outside of my state, and basically just to travel to meet more investors with me, like-minded individuals who are willing to partner up with me in other states, and so they can serve as a extra set of eyes for when I'm not around and stuff like that. And you do get an introductory 0 annual fee. After that is $95 a year. Although I've heard, I haven't done this yet, this will be my first year where they're going to charge me the $95. If I can actually prove that I've been very disciplined in paying down my cards and being on time with all the payments, you can actually call Chase and ask them to waive the fee for you again. So they'll do it for one more time, and then by the time the third year hit, I think that's when you are going to have to pay the $95. I think $95 is not bad compared to some other cards out there. For example, the American Express Gold or Platinum, I think they charge up to $450 on annual fee, and they don't even give you the same amount of bonus points that Chase is giving you. Mind you, if you're going to go ahead and apply for all of these credit cards, Chase has what they call a 524 rule, meaning you cannot get approved for more than 5 credit cards from any bank in a period of 24 months. So before you decide to apply in any of the cards, if you have a good credit, I'm talking about somewhat between 650 and above at least, if you plan to get 3 credit cards as a first batch, make sure you get the Sapphire first, and then you get the Freedom first, and then you go ahead and you apply for the other ones, the Amex or the Discover that I suggested, because once you hit that 5 credit card mark in less than 24 months, you won't get approved for any Chase cards anymore unless you just stop applying for new credit for the next 24 months. And I think for the purpose of you expanding your real estate portfolio, that's very unrealistic. So make sure you get the best out of the Chase cards from the get-go, because for the next 3 months, you're probably going to apply for other credit cards, and chances are you're not going to get approved for any of the Chase ones. So again, as a recap from the prior modules, apply for 3 credit cards at a time every 4 to 6 months. And if you don't understand, here's the link so you can actually refer back to the prior video where I actually talk about the frequencies where you apply for credit cards. But yes, no more than 3 credit cards every 4 to 6 months. If you're applying for a batch of 3 for the first time, make sure you get the Chase ones first before you move on to the next ones. And same thing down here. So moving along, you get 2 points for travel and dining. So every time you eat at a restaurant or every time you purchase a plane ticket or rent a car, I believe car rentals are considered part of travel. You have to call Chase and verify, but I think they do. You get 2 times the points that you apply. Every time you redeem your points for mileage travel, you actually get 25% more. So let's say, for example, if you were to take 50,000 points and cash back, instead of getting 625 with a point, you will probably get, I don't know, 575 if you were to redeem that in cash back. I'm making these numbers up, but you kind of like get the gist of it. If you want to milk the best out of the points, make sure you redeem them for traveling as opposed to like any other perks that they're offering you, like cash back or gift cards and stuff like that. And what I like about this card is that they don't have any zero avoided transaction fees. So let's say you travel to Canada, you want to venture on a vacation to Europe, or maybe travel down to South America. Every time you use this card, there's no transaction fees. I can't emphasize that enough. Transaction fees are small, but if you're away for 2 weeks, every time you swipe a card, the fees are going to start adding up. And, when you least expect it, you've spent an average of $200 in foreign transaction fees. So I like that about the Chase Sapphire, that you can actually take that to anywhere in the world and you will be treated as if you were swiping your card in the US. I think that's basically it. Some people have talked about the travel and purchase coverage. I think that if you rent a car with Chase Sapphire, you don't have to purchase additional insurance, like the insurance that they offer in the rental cars, because Chase actually covers you for that. You're going to have to call Chase to inquire about that. I've never actually used the services, but it's a nice perk to have. And then, yeah, hit apply. And this is how the application is going to look like. Again, fairly simple. They actually break it down into multiple sections. First, your name, and then your financial history, maybe some security questions over here, and then one last chance for you to review. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you find the content really valuable. And remember, the links for all of the credit cards that I cover are actually located in the description box down below. Just click on it and go straight into the application. And remember, no more than 3 in one shot, and then just wait 4 to 6 months until you apply for the next one. And until then, I'll see ya. Bye.